So today I want to talk about how our mental health is our responsibility. A lot of people, once they find out that they have been diagnosed with, mental health disorder, depression, anxiety, whatever, a lot of times people use that as an excuse for their shitty behavior. And I just don't agree with that. I truly believe that once we find out that we are diagnosed with something mental, that means we have to work that much harder. I have been diagnosed with major depression, anxiety disorder, and BPD, which is borderline personality disorder. And I am now at a point in my life where I need absolutely no medication and I function like everybody else, And that shit did not happen overnight. It happened over years and years of working really, really hard on myself. No, I'm not perfect. No, I don't have my shit all together. But I will say that working on my mental health was worth it, because now I'm able to just be a normal person and not have to take medication and stuff. And there's nothing wrong with taking medication, because there were years and years and years of my life where I could not function without it. I absolutely needed medication in order to be, a functioning member of society. So let's give an example for myself, since I can only speak from personal experience. When it comes to my depression, what I do now is, if I start to notice that I'm getting those feelings back, because depression is a very familiar feeling if you've had depression before. For me, it comes in waves. I'll be, it'll come on and I'll be depressed and I'll have to be, on antidepressants for a year or two. And then, it just kind of goes away, and then I'm fine for a year or two. And it's kind of done that since adolescence for me. But the past few years, I haven't had to take antidepressants whenever those waves come back. And as soon as I start to feel that way, I immediately acknowledge that I know this feeling. I recognize this feeling. I've felt this before. And I immediately do something about it. If that means for you going to your doctor and getting back on medication, do that. If that means going to therapy and seeing your counselor or whatever and telling them, then do that. For me, what has worked recently, and by recently I mean the past 3 or 4 years, I get out of the funk immediately. I don't allow myself to even slip. You know what I mean? As soon as I start to feel that sadness and that just really dark feeling that I know too well, I will get up and I will go outside. And even though I don't want to, and part of it is that I have no motivation, I get up and I make myself, because I know if I slip too far, it's going to take so much longer to get back up. So I just immediately take action. And that seems to help a lot. It's gotten to the point where I haven't needed antidepressants for, like I said, 3 or 4 years. No, it's been longer than that. I haven't needed antidepressants since I was pregnant. So I haven't needed antidepressants in 6 or 7 years. Damn, I didn't realize it'd been that long. I thought it'd only been a couple years. Okay, so I think I know what I'm talking about, at least a little bit from my personal experience, right? If you deal with depression, as soon as you start to feel that feeling, immediately act on it, do something about it. Don't let yourself stay there and get stuck there. Hang on a second. Sorry. I have to be able to see what time it is on the clock in my car, because when I'm, my phone is my only other clock, and I have to know when I need to go back in from lunch. From lunch. Okay, so another example with my anxiety problem, with my anxiety disorder. I used to have to take anti-anxiety medication several times a day, or else I would have full-blown anxiety attacks 5 to 7 times a week, so almost every single day. The full-blown debilitating, I can't breathe, I can't function, I can't do anything, I'm dying, one of those, right? And now I've gotten to the point where I am able to work through my anxiety attacks. I still get them. But I have just learned, I went to counseling when I was younger for coping skills. And it was like a coping skills group therapy session. And that was our focus, was coping skills, learning to deal with our problems. And a lot of my coping skills for my anxiety problem is I recognize that it is anxiety. That's all it is. It'll go away. And then I just understand that everything I'm feeling is part of that experience, and I just have to ride it out. I have to ride it and know and have faith that it will go away, and it does. So that's another thing where you have to be completely aware that this is what this is, and you have to learn how to just deal with it and handle it. I also avoid certain triggers if I can, but you can't avoid everything, so that might be bad advice, because some people will be like, well, then I'm just going to avoid every goddamn thing, because everything gives me anxiety. And then with my BPD, that has been a long process as well. But I realize when I'm acting out in my BPD, borderline personality disorder is coming out. Like, I know when I'm getting there, And BPD is a diagnosis that has a whole lot of symptoms that I don't feel like getting into. But, if you want to know more about it, there's a really good book called I Hate You, Don't Leave Me. And it explains it really well. But I've gotten to the point where I almost never have the angry outbursts. I almost never, I still have some of the symptoms, but I'm able to manage them because I recognize that they're there. I know it. I own it. I know that that is part of me, but I don't use it as an excuse to be an asshole. I don't use it as an excuse to be a piece of shit person, And I have in the past. I've completely used my diagnosis as excuses. So basically, I guess the bottom line is, whatever diagnosis you have, whatever problem is going on, that's just the way you are, and you can't help that happened, but there are things you can do about it, and it is your responsibility to do those things. Nobody else can take care of your mental health, only you can. Because I've met so many people with mental problems who just don't do anything about it, and they just live in it. And I've been that person in the past, and it's just hard to watch, because it's like, your quality of life could be so much better. Your life could improve so much if you would just take these steps and really work on yourself and really understand that, yes, this is the way it is, but yes, there are things I can do to help. And I guess I just wanted to go on a little rant about that. I wouldn't really call it a rant, actually. I just wanted to talk about it. So if you are struggling with any depression, anxiety, anything, take action. Get help. If you can't afford it, or like if you don't have insurance, or if your insurance doesn't cover anything like mine, talk to family, talk to friends, just reach out to people. And that's a really good first step, in my opinion, is just reaching out. And if you don't know what to do, maybe somebody else can help you. And, if you found this video because you have mental problems and you wanted to watch something, then you already made that first step. Just continue making the next right step. It's a lot of work. It's not easy. It's an ongoing process. For me, that will last the rest of my life, but it's worth working on. As far as I know, this is the only person I'll ever be. So why not work on it as much as I can and try to be the best version of myself that I can. I'm going to go ahead and go. Just remember that there's always hope that tomorrow will be a better day.